How's it going, everyone? Serious Hydro Spy here with my first Force of Will video. Today I'm going to be discussing a Kaguya deck. I'll just give you a look at the deck, and then for those of you that want to know why I'm running all these cards, let me explain myself now. First of all, you run Kaguya. For 0 you can flip her, you just need to activate a treasury item, which is very easy in this deck. And then for 1 mana you can set a standby instead of setting 2. So let's flip her over. Pay 0, change the text of target treasury item by replacing all instances of one attribute with another one until the end of turn. So with these treasury items, which I'll get to later, you can just change. Some of them have like protection, give a guy protection. This one gives a guy protection from black. You can change that to any color you want, pretty much. That's an example. And then you can pay 2 blue, 1 colorless to search a treasury item from your deck. So let's get into the deck. First of all, we have a ramp package, Elvish Priest Gretel. Every green deck should really run it, but they're especially good in this deck because this deck really relies on having a lot of mana to do certain plays, like drawing cards and searching cards and stuff like that. For Little Mermaid, just a great card because it's really good against aggro, it's really good against control, it's not bad against anything. As you can see, I don't have Cheshire Cat, I'll get to that in a second. I don't run Cheshire Cat, I'll get to that in a second. The Little Mermaid, again, just very great. Let's just talk about this card for a second. Servant of Kaguya. For 1 blue, 2 colorless, you get a flying 4/4 with the ability to gain 400 for every treasury item you control. Very relevant in this deck. There are 10 treasury items, so a possible 4,000 bonus. Early game, it's going to have around 2 treasury items on the board. It's going to be around a 12/12 flying. Pretty darn good for 3 mana. But later in the game, it's going to be around, 6 treasury items, so it's going to get a 28/28 body for only 3 mana. Very relevant. It's going to be the win condition a lot of the time. And then finally, 3 Feasting. Just a great card. Gives you any mana you want. Prevents damage. Battle tricks. You can play it on your opponent's turn with quick cast. Sweet card. I really like it. For the treasury, actually, let's talk about 5 challenges first. For the standby, we have 4 or 5 challenges. You can set it for 1 mana with Seer of the Blue Moon, and it lets you draw a card every time you flip it, and you can flip it anytime. But instead of flipping it, if you want, you can bounce your opponent's whole board with the requirement of you having 5 treasury items. So that's going to be pretty hard to do, you'd think, but with all the draw power from the 5 challenges and the Kaguya searching, it's very easy to do. And when you're bouncing your opponent's board every turn with this, that's just how you're going to win. Also, its second ability lets you add it to your hand whenever you play a treasury item. Like I said, we play 10. It's going to be added to your hand a lot. This is pretty much the Cheshire Cat of the deck, or the replacement. It's just going to be drawing you your entire deck and bouncing your opponent's entire board. So yeah, pretty much the win condition. You're going to be bouncing your opponent's board, not allowing them to play the game. Late game and early game, you're going to be drawing into the pieces you need to do that. So pretty much it's a win condition that lets you draw into a win condition. So it's like, even when it's bad, it's good. Next up, for the treasury items, we have 3 Stone Bowl of Buddha. Really wish I could fit a 4th in here, but space is really tight. The card's not very great. The relevance of this card is just that it's a 1 mana treasury item. It's very relevant, by the way. It lets you just activate it and add back 5 challenges. So, target resonator cannot be blocked by water resonators, but I can change that to any attribute I want. So I can change it to wind. So it just pretty much makes one of my guys unblockable when I have Kaguya. Next up is 2 Jeweled Branch of Horai. Pay a light, rest up to 2 target fire or dark resonators. Again, I can change those attributes to whatever I want. This card's very good for stalling out early game. Next up is 1 Kari of Swallows. Target wind resonator pretty much gets hexproof. I can change that to any attribute I want because of Kaguya again. And then finally, the MVP of the deck for Longinus. Pretty much, I'm going to summarize it. Give a dude +5/+5. Very relevant for 2 mana, 2 light mana. And then gets hexproof from darkness, spells, and abilities. and also it can't be dealt damage by darkness. But again, I can change that to any color, so it pretty much makes my dude undestroyable, unless you kill the sword first. So very good. So those are the 10 treasury items. Very searchable. And then let's get on to the instance. I have 4 Cake Zone, 4 Thunder. No Zeeks, no Law of Silence, no other spells. These are it. No Dream of Juliet. The Cake Zones are very relevant. They're going to be protecting all your power plays, like activating 5 challenges to bounce your opponent's board, just negating your opponent's Cake Zones with your own Cake Zone is nice. Stuff like that. I just really love Cake Zone. It's one of my favorite cards in the game. And then 4 Thunder. Initially I wasn't running red at all. This is now a 4-color deck, but without red, you just can't beat J-Rulers, and especially Abdul. So I just had to throw him in. Without red, you just can't win against some matchups, so you have to run it, I guess. So that is a 4-color deck, but red is really light in my stones. So because this is a late game card, not an early game card. So yeah, so you can like really, you know, not run that much red and get away with it. So let's get on to the stones. You have 4 light green, 4 blue green, 1 red green, 1 moonshade. The moonshade is going to be for fixing. I only wanted to run 1 non-Gretel target. I could up it to 2. Cut this for a second, moonshade. I don't know. The stones are still in testing with the addition of thunders. So these are very relevant. The reason I'm running this is because a lot of the times I'm going to be using it for the second light, just to activate the Longinus. Very relevant. Longinus can be hard to activate early game, and that's when you want to activate it the most, before your opponent can really negate it. So this is going to be helping with the light, along with the feasting. And then obviously there's a lot of blue in this deck, so we're going to be running this. And then this is just to help with the thunders. And that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or helpful criticism about the deck, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be about Little Red Campanella deck. It's a pretty sweet deck I'll showcase next. Peace out, guys.